Hasn't always been easy for 17-year-old Gabriel Dominguez. 5 years ago, he says instability at home reached a breaking point.
A lot of times the cops are called, CPS, department people call.
Gabriel says Child Protective Services believed he wasn't safe in his mother's home, and they sent him to live with his father, but it didn't last.
He got caught up for drugs and went back to jail.
Separated from his family, Gabriel went to a place where many kids wind up when they have nowhere else to go, the Children's Receiving Home of Sacramento. One of Sacramento's largest and oldest foster care facilities, the Children's Receiving Home can care for nearly 100 children. It's a group home that serves as an emergency shelter, taking kids in like Gabriel who can't go anywhere else. CEO David Ballard says many of those kids have experienced trauma and have behavioral problems.
They are the greatest kids in the world. They didn't do anything to anybody, but they've come from a world of pain and they have learned some bad behaviors, and our job is to help them even when other people may give up on them.
So our plan, represented as part of this budget, is to add in the current year some $700,000.
In September, the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors approved $700,000 in extra funding for the Children's Receiving Home. Child Protective Services tells Fox 40 that money, quote, will enable CRH to provide care, supervision, and appropriate services for all children or youth in need of shelter placement. Ballard says he's confident the funding will go a long way towards helping kids at the home.
Deeper staffing, more one-on-one staffing, take more kids in and be more responsive to the kids who are in the foster care system.
But records show the Children's Receiving Home has a history marked with violations. According to reports from the California Department of Social Services, in the past 5 years, the facility has been cited more than 120 times. That's more than any individual foster care facility in Sacramento County. Reports also show in 2014, the receiving home was placed on a 12-month plan of correction for failing to report multiple allegations of sexual and other inappropriate conduct by staff toward clients, and failing to call 911 when a child nearly drowned in the home's pool. Ballard says they've worked on making changes.
In the mandated plan of correction, we were given a certain amount of items we need to address. One could say hoops one needed to jump through. We jumped through them all. We raised the bar here. It was a pull, but it was a needed pull, and quite honestly, it was a helpful pull.
But complaints have continued. State reports show that on August 2nd, 2017, a staff member was fired for having an inappropriate relationship with a minor staying at the home and for smoking pot with minors who had walked off campus. On September 8, 2017, a state inspector wrote in a report that one of the bedrooms smelled so strongly of urine she, quote, was unable to stay in the room. And just this year alone, there have been 5 violations for children not being given their medication or not being given proper medical care. Ballard couldn't comment on any specific staffing allegations, but says they investigate every complaint immediately.
I'll be honest with you, when I feel we are dead to rights, I will admit we are dead to rights. Sometimes we do miss medications. We flat out do. It's an issue.
The California Department of Social Services wouldn't comment on the number of violations at the receiving home, but did tell us the department continues to work very closely with the Children's Receiving Home in Sacramento County, providing technical assistance and recommending best practices regarding the use of shelter care for children and youth in foster care. The facility remains licensed, and a report from September 29 shows they have been granted approval to expand. For Ballard, despite the complaints, he says they must stay open, and the expansion will allow them to offer better care, including retaining staff and hiring more employees who are better trained.
This is really an organization to be supported and assisted in getting done what it's done, and there needs to be an understanding of how intense and often difficult this work is.
As for Gabriel, he's now back home with his mom, and everything is better. The change has been good for him. It's the same change he wants for the Children's Receiving Home.
Step up, build it up, make it a better place, make it structured for these kids so they're not living the life that they're living, the sad life, and have them actually looking forward to something and making them successful.
Child Protective Services tells Fox 40 they're working to make sure every foster child is cared for, but they are suffering a serious shortage of foster families, also known as resource families. To learn more about the requirements for becoming foster parents and how to apply, head to our website, fox40.com.